This is a story about when we found a tree with a human face inside it. I remember how it started. Jonathan, the weevil, was pounding on my cabin door during nap hours again, and I yelled at him like a lion with gum disease, "Damn it, weevil, get your own damn milk." And he whined, "Ah, come on, Greaves, I don't wanna walk to the compound." And I yelled back something about shoving an axe handle up his ass, and then we argued about the milk for so long I knew I'd never get back to sleep, so I opened the door. When I did, Doc Bamberg came running in behind him. "Hey, what's up, Doc?" we both said. "It's a running gag. Something weird," he said. "You boys better come quick." I was hoping, given Doc's urgency and the like, Weevil might have forgotten about my milk. Nope. He grabbed it and then we followed after Doc. "There's no cereal where we're going, boys," the Doc said. And you know what? He was right. We followed him way back to where we'd been cutting that morning. The whole camp was gathered around a tree. Like it was the baby Jesus. "You guys find an old hustler in there?" I quipped. "You didn't do this, did you?" the foreman asked. He was looking to both me and Weevil. We stepped through the group to look at what atrocity could have befallen this fur. It was the strangest thing I'd ever seen. Rotten chunks of the trunk had fallen away, revealing this inner flesh that had molded and twisted itself to look exactly like the foreman. Lines of runny sap smeared the wood face, making the contorted agony it expressed all the more disturbing. It looked like he was being digested by the tree. "You didn't do it," he sighed. "Boss, it doesn't look carved, you know," I said. "It's like it just grew this way." "There's no way," he said. "Just happens to look like me." "Look at the rings," I said. "This part of the tree is at least 50 years old. It doesn't look like you. You look like it." That left him speechless. I saw the small shudder go through all the men. I felt it, too. The lot of us had over a lifetime of combined experience with trees. None of us had seen anything like this, not even close. This sure as hell wasn't chance. I reached out to touch the face, because I was curious what it felt like. Not for comparison. It's not like I spent my time fondling my foreman's face. I just wanted to know. The others seemed to be holding their breath as my hand drew closer. Weevil froze with my milk jug halfway to his face. Before I could touch it, Doc grabbed my wrist. "Don't, Doc, it's just a tree." "Does it look like just a tree?" I shook my wrist free and touched it harder than I'd wanted to. It was soft, spongy, like touching an eyeball. I thought I felt it writhe under my touch. I pulled my hand away like the thing was on fire. "Did you all see that?" I asked, gripping my hand. "See what?" Old Handy Andy Mickelson asked. "Did you see it move?" "Okay." The foreman raised his voice. "Enough. Someone cut this damn thing down and pulp the fucker. The rest, let's get back and have a drink. And if I find out one of you idiots did this, those drinks are coming from your salary." I guess I should give you some background. The Tangay Complex is an almost 200-year-old lumberjack camp in the northern Ontario wilderness. It was deep in the wilderness when it was first built, and if possible it's even deeper now. Civilization seemed to have moved away from it. Yet, every year on May 21st the mysterious owners truck some poor group of assholes, amateur and professional woodsmen, into the camp. Barring emergencies, they don't get out of the camp until September 1st. That year those assholes were us. There were 12 of us, counting the foreman. So, after leaving the tree, all except Mickelson came back to the compound. That's what we call the main building, where all the food, booze, and recreational activities are. Mickelson went back to take down the tree, which I'd already started calling the fur man. The foreman didn't think it was funny. Too soon, I guess. Anyway, Mickelson's a cool guy. Quiet, hardworking, volunteers for tasks nobody else wants to do. In his spare time, he carves hands from wood. We've all modeled for him. Perfect, wooden replicas of our hands. He says hands are the most beautiful thing God ever made. I think it's titties. But we're different men. True to his word, the foreman led us all into the whiskey. He never let us drink midday before. It must have really rattled him. Joking aside, I was rattled too. Something about that thing didn't feel natural. Like When they find the Virgin Mary in a grilled cheese, it always looks like it could just as easily be a cat or a pile of laundry. This was a perfect sculpture of the foreman's face. A bust. Yep. Trees are remarkable things, old Grits said. Seen 'em do all kinds. Fella left his bike chained to a small tree. Forgot about it for a few years. Came back to find it half inside the tree trunk and 3 feet off the ground. And when I was a boy, we had this sycamore growing in the backyard. My pop hated that thing, but hated the idea of cutting it even more. My cat Jasper would hide in that tree all day. One day Jasper disappeared. Years later, when an ice storm, yes, I'll take a second shot, an ice storm toppled the mighty bastard, I helped Pop cut it into next year's firewood. Come to one point in the wood where there's this space in the wood fibers, not even a hollow, just a pocket. Out of this pocket fall the little bones and a collar. For lack of a better term, fellas, that sycamore ate my Jasper. So you think it could just be a coincidence? The foreman asked. All I'm saying is trees are remarkable things. Maybe that tree back there took a look at your face one year and said to itself, not bad, think I'll grow one myself. Wait a minute, I said. Holy shit. Once I had everyone's attention, I let this bombshell drop. How do we know you're the real foreman and not the tree? Greaves, have you ever heard of a man choking to death on his own testicles? Keep. Just then a throat-bursting scream resounded from the woods. Mickelson. Nobody had any concrete image of what could have happened, I'm sure, but we all had been feeling it. What if that thing did something to Mickelson? What if there was something else in the woods? We abandoned our drinks and went running. We only got halfway there when he met Mickelson on his way back, covered in blood and chunks of something. I'll never forget it as long as I live. He was walking like a zombie, with his chainsaw dragging behind him. A lumberjack never drags his chainsaw. And his face, blank, with empty eyes, like he'd just looked into the heart of darkness. But he didn't appear injured. Mickelson, what the hell happened? What were you screaming for? The foreman asked. He kept walking past the foreman silently until we stopped him. Being touched seemed to wake him up. It wasn't me, he said. What wasn't? Doc asked, screaming. It wasn't me, this isn't my blood. We looked behind him into the woods. Complete silence, not even a bird sang. I remember that. Then Mickelson's shuffling resumed. No, the foreman said, no. It was the tree, he went on. That miserable thing screamed as I cut it down. I only heard screams like that once before. Some went back with him to the compound. Me, the foreman, Doc, and Titslip Mahone, as we called him, pretty sure I started it, went on to check the tree. Mickelson had cut the thing to pieces. Thick, red goop covered the whole area. There was a chainsaw-shaped hole straight through the face. He just wanted it to shut up, I guess. How can it bleed? The foreman asked. You ever see Invasion of the Body Snatchers? I asked rhetorically. The others looked at me, but didn't respond. You know what that means, right? It was in their heads, too. It ain't blood, Doc said. You'd smell it by now. He bent down and tasted the red goop. Just your typical fur sap. Probably some fungus turned it red. Mickelson's been edgy lately, haven't you noticed? Nobody. And he's the only one who could carve this. We've all seen his carvings. Do we have any reason to believe he wasn't the one screaming? If there's anything more mysterious than trees, friends, it's the human mind. I remembered the spongy feel of the tree's face. I was about to raise that point when we heard screams again, this time from the direction of the compound. Okay. This time it's Mickelson, I said. We ran all the way back to the compound to find the men surrounding Mickelson now, just as they'd been surrounding the tree earlier. He was sitting on the floor in the circle of men, looking at the stumps where his hands used to be, watching the blood just pumping out, and screaming. The sight of his stumps and the metallic scent of his blood made me woozy. I sat back and heard some exchanges distantly. How'd this happen? He just suddenly did it to himself. You couldn't stop him, Doc. Do something. We have to stop the bleeding. Screams, screams, screams. Then my own voice. Jesus Christ, I thought he loved hands. Shut the fuck. Greaves, get the morphine from my cabin. keys jingling. Come on, man, Weevil said, throwing water in my face. Hey, did you ever give me back my milk? I asked. Put his hands on ice, Doc was telling someone. Someone has to drive him to a hospital, the foreman said. That's the only truck, Weevil said. We should all get out of here. You kidding? We have a job to do here. There's weird shit going on here, boss, Weevil argued. Nah, it all adds up, the foreman said. Just what Doc was saying. Mickelson's got issues. He carved the tree, freaked out over the red sap, cut off his own hands. He needs serious help. I'm not sure if he really believed that. I think he just wanted to calm everyone down. If there's a rational explanation, there's security in that. Taylor arrived back with the morphine and other medical supplies. Just in case, he said. Doc grabbed the morphine only. Soon after, the screams stopped. The bleeding's under control, Doc said. He needs an emergency room. Now, that was a hard order. It takes the truck a few hours to get out of here, and that's assuming it doesn't get stuck anywhere. If he wakes up, make him drink water and give him another shot. With the hands in an ice chest, Taylor was off with Handy Andy Mickelson and our only truck. We were left mopping up blood.
Subscribe and please like. Thanks for tuning in and listening.